for the lightning round here on Fresh Outlook, and we begin with some sad news. Novelist Tom Clancy died this week at the age of 66, but it was his story that I want to share with everyone. He was a former insurance salesman who never served in the military, never served with the CIA or the FBI. Clancy's debut, The Hunt for Red October, was originally published by the Naval Institute Press, and it was bought for $5,000. Someone got a copy to Nancy Reagan, who then passed it along to President Reagan, and I guess, as they say, the rest was history. And I guess because it's a bit of a Republican story, I guess we'll say, Dee Dee.
Well,
We'll let you, as the former White House aide to President Bush, if you could just tell us, you actually met Mr. Clancy.
I did. Well, part of my job at the White House was I dealt with Hollywood. Oh, bummer. That was such a tough one. But it was a lot of fun, and we did the Sum of All Fears. So Ben Affleck and the stars were there, of course, and then Mr. Clancy, who could not have been nicer. He was so sweet, and you couldn't even, I mean, here's a guy who was responsible for all of this, and he was just, couldn't have been nicer and more laid back and kind of homegrown and just a very sweet person.
Yeah, he was absolutely amazing in the fact that he really didn't have that military background, and here he was able to really engage people and just had some phenomenal stories. I love Clear and Present Danger.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys have a favorite? Any favorites we want to talk about?
I'd say Clear and Present Danger is probably my favorite. Hunt for October. If you read the book, his descriptions of the submarine just go on for pages. It's amazing.
The book's better than the movie.
It's amazing that if he never served in the Navy or the military, because his knowledge of the submarine was, after a while, I just let it go. I mean, he was just,
and I'll tell you that,
went.
I didn't even know that until, obviously, I was reading his obituary this week. I thought that he had served in the military, so I didn't realize that. So. We also have some sad news for the folks. We're here in New York and the New Jersey area, but the New York City Opera is scheduled to close its doors. They just don't have the money, and I guess a lack of interest as well. Just kind of sad. I know, Jackie, you were going to talk to us about this.
Right. You know, I love opera, but I love opera because I had a wonderful professor in college who turned me on to it, and so I became a lifelong lover. The thing is that we really don't introduce our children to it anymore. It's an art that is in a foreign language, and some of the companies have put up English subtitles so that people understand the plot. And it's kind of in dated form too. Although there is lots of conflict, there's, you know, the man, the woman, and everything that's happening. You know, the thing is, though, we don't bring our children up to appreciate it. That's what's, yeah.
But I just think it's so sad to see any of the arts go away in any of these schools and things like that. But I think that's an interesting point that you just said there, Jackie, about the children were not introduced to opera at a young age. Now in Europe they usually are, but here in the States they really aren't. I don't know, you know, I don't know if we can come up with $5 million. Anybody watching the show to help the New York City Opera? But and any thoughts as an educator, Dr. McCoy?
Well, this might sound so trivial, but you know, my wife and I, we're a fan of the show America's Got Talent. And you always, every season, you see these great opera singers come on the show, and they always do really well. And there's always discussion about, they basically try to take modern songs and put them in opera form. The group did, one group that went very far did I Will Always Love You, or not Always Love You, but the Titanic song, title's escaping me, and just doing it in this opera form. So it seems like you have these moments where it comes back, but I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I never thought of it that way. You're right, we don't really, it's not part of our culture.
Well, you know, I lived in Minneapolis for a little bit, and the kids there are really exposed to the arts, and I could see a difference in the students there than I do in New York, because now it's all math and science.
Oh, what's the theory that if you are with music, I'm actually a musician, I play the piano and cello, and if you adhere to that, you're smarter in math and some of the other.
Because it is a quantitative science or art.
Absolutely. Who's to blame for this? Did they just have really poor fundraisers? That's what I was trying to get down to.
How do you not buy $5 million in New York City? I have to say, I don't think the fat lady has sung yet. I have a feeling someone's going to come in and save the opera. How can New York City not have an opera? I don't think it'll last long.
Well, we do have we have the Metropolitan Opera, but this is a different opera house.
But I mean,
so.
for $5 million.
And they actually moved out of Lincoln Center to actually try and save money, but they still couldn't come up with it.
But it's got to be more than the $5 million to save the opera house. It's got to be now millions you're going to put in advertising to get people to come and do this. I mean, I think this is really.
Oh, they need a campaign for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they need a full-fledged campaign. But I don't know. I kind of think someone will pick it up, and I think I'd be very sad if someone doesn't, and it just goes away for good.
Yeah.
Right, I would too.
Yeah, no, I agree. Anytime I see the arts taken out of any of the schools, whether it's an elementary school or a high school, and we see it all the time with funding cuts and all that kind of stuff. But Jackie, I think you're 100% right. I think that if kids were introduced to it at an earlier age, I think that it would make all the world a difference. So thanks for bringing up that point. Let's also talk about somebody who's not going away. Actually, Dee Dee and I shared a nice night. We went over to David Letterman, and he has announced that he is going to stick around for another year. But a little controversy with him. He's going to turn 68 years old. 68 years young. How about that? We're going to call him 68 years young. But a lot of folks, of course, those producers are saying that, if you want to hit that 18 to 49 very important demographic age group, that he's too old. I know you're going to disagree on that one, and I do too. But what do you think about that?
No, he's not too old. He's funny. I hope he's there till 108. I mean, one more year and that's all. I hope he stays there a long time. He's just very talented. It shouldn't be age discriminatory. I think that whether you're 15 or 55 or whatever age, if David Letterman is talented and a good host, it doesn't matter. So I think I think that's crazy. He needs to stick around for a long time.
She's totally right on this. I mean, look at honest to God, look at our comics. We've got Bob Newhart is just about ready to go on a new tour. He's up there. Milton Berle, I mean, he's passed on. But he stayed until the end. Comedians can do that. They can push and push and push until they can't tell jokes anymore.
Well, I mean, it's a little different because he's got the political show, and it's somewhat political, somewhat comedy and stuff like that. But and he's really the oldest one on there now. He's been on.
But he's the best one on there.
I was going to say, I mean, let's
31
he's
years.
The best one.
Let the ratings do the talking.
Exactly.
I mean, age doesn't. I mean, it's like you can be young and be terrible. You can be old and be wonderful. So I don't think it's like the ratings are doing the talking, and they're saying that Dave is great, so he should stay. But whenever CBS is thinking about considering a new host, and I hope it's not because of age, it's just because David Letterman himself is ready to retire, hopefully they'll handle it much better than NBC has handled any of their transitions between Jay and Conan, and now Jimmy Fallon coming in. I mean, they could not have blundered this any worse than they did.
Maybe get a new band
CBS is doing a way better
younger
job.
people in the band. There are other ways to make it, maybe a little younger and hipper, but why
It's a great show.
I
It
think
makes
they
sense.
might be bending to the pressure that now Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert, that's where the young people are getting their news.
Well, that's a good point. They're probably 15 years younger. But they just had that big thing with the Emmy Awards where they wanted to attract younger people by having certain obituaries.
Oh, the druggie? They honored the young druggie instead of,
Larry
honoring
Hagman.
Larry Hagman.
That's
ridiculous. That's why they did that.
They're trying to honor young people by that?
Yeah.
That was the reason
thing?
behind it, and they actually came out and said that the reason why we are honoring Corey, and his last name escapes me.
Monty.
Thank you. But the reason why was because it would attract a younger audience.
Oh boy, that's the way to do it,
Every
isn't
time
it?
they try to this, we're going to attract the young people, it goes badly. When they tried James Franco and Anne Hathaway hosting the Oscars, it went
Terrible.
badly. Seth MacFarlane hosting the Oscars, a little less badly, but still pretty badly.
I like him now.
Again, the same thing with Dave Letterman. Talent is talent.
Talent's
Have
talent.
talented people. I'm looking forward to Ellen DeGeneres. She's hilarious. She'll be hosting the Oscars. She's hilarious.
And you said it before.
That's a great point.
The ratings will decide, and that's
it's not
the
about
bottom
age,
line.
it's about talent.
Absolutely.
So forget it. Doesn't matter how
All right, we all
would
agree
say
on this one.
We agreed for once. Wow.
All right, now we're going to talk about something else. Now, there was a top celebrity from TV Guide. Who were the top 5 people? Okay, so here we go. We had Kate Middleton at number 1. Number 2 was Prince William. Number 3 was Kim Kardashian. Number 4, Miley Cyrus. And number 5 was Claire Danes. Now, it seemed, just from me looking at that list, it seemed like, wow, how did they come up with that? And I don't know if they listed the celebrities or if people wrote in, so I don't know how they came up with those names, but just by hearing those names, what were your thoughts? And we see Kate Middleton there and Prince William. What were your thoughts of seeing the Royals at the number 1 and 2 spots?
Bad. I want Americans. I don't like the royalty thing at all. I think it's all ridiculous, and that's how our country was founded. Getting rid of the Brits. So I hated that was number 1 and 2. I think we'll go back to Letterman. I like him better than any of those. And then Kardashian, oh, really? I mean, can't they go away? I don't like the Kardashian thing.
I know. See, I find the Kardashian thing extremely interesting because Kim Kardashian doesn't have a talent. There's nothing that she does. But
We'll agree with you on that.
but what she does is that she is an incredible businesswoman. She sells jewelry, she sells perfume, she sells whatever. She is selling the brand of Kim Kardashian, and that makes a celebrity today.
What about Kate Middleton?
Well,
She does nothing. She has no talent either.
Yeah, she does-
She's
I mean,
royal.
but yeah, I mean, at least royalty. I mean, I'm one of these strange American royal files, so I'm totally.
I'm right there
me
with
too.
you. Right there with
Totally,
you.
totally love
Yeah,
royals. So
that's it.
glad I'm the top of the list. Look, the fact that Kim Kardashian #3 is why Miley Cyrus is #4, which is to say, Miley Cyrus is part of a generation that basically has now been taught to believe: go out there, sell sex, sell no talent, and then shoot up the list.
No.
And but here's one thing I will note about the list
All
that
right.
stood out to me: 4 out of 5 were women.
Yay.
And I
That's
think,
interesting.
And I think that I wish that. And again, Kate Middleton, future Queen of England. Claire Danes, wonderful actress, great for them. Miley Cyrus used to be a good singer. Now I'm not sure what she's doing.
I know
But-
you have a small daughter, so you have to look out for her role models.
But that is, we
Thanks for
almost
plugging
are,
my daughter.
Of course.
we are almost out of time, but that is an interesting point that 4 out of the 5 top celeb picks this year were women. Very interesting.
3 out of 4 people in this panel are women.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the
you're a
man-
lucky
go.
man.
And the man was the one who noticed the 4 out of 5 women.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
That is all we have time for this week. Thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you, Jackie. And thank you, Michael. And thank you, everybody, for watching Fresh Outlook. I'm Mia Toski. We thank everyone, and we thank you for watching, and we hope to see you back here next week. But let's hope we are not talking about week 2 of a government shutdown. Have a great week, everyone.